Hello, I'm Mr. S.S. Sazni from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sharad Institute of Technology, Polytechnic, and I am teaching the subject Management. Today we will continue with our third lecture for this subject Management on the topic Planning and Organizing at Supervisory Level. But before heading with a new point, we will just take a review of our previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we have studied all the characteristics of planning, such as intellectual process, selection of best alternatives, primary function of management, forecasting, continuous process, flexibility in planning, goal orientation, interdependent process, and regarding efficiency and economy. So after going through all these characteristics, we again started with a new point, that is information which is required for planning. So in that we have seen several points, such as what are the number of jobs to be done, or quality related expectations, time expectations, and dependency of operation for smooth flow of work. Then again, after that, we have seen several steps in planning activities. So we have gone through a list of the steps. Now today we will start with our new point, and that is nothing but steps which is to be followed after planning. Now, after studying what are the steps required before planning, which we have already studied, we will now see what are the steps to be followed after planning. So we will discuss this point now. First point is continuous follow-up. Supervisor must study the work order. So work order means the task which is allotted to a particular person. So if he is not sure about allotting the task, then he can take help of the experts, and then accordingly he can allot the work for individual person. The targets are in terms of quantity, as well as the date of completions, and quality to be achieved, as well as cost to be saved. So supervisor has to be keen on following all these targets. So for this purpose, continuous follow-up is very much essential. The next step is be alert on shop floor. The supervisor must be always alert while working on the shop floor. This will help him to make the production process smooth. For making the planning, he has already prepared the action plan, and the necessary thing is that this action plan must happen whatever he has decided earlier. So an alert supervisor will get success in following his plans perfectly. Then next step is a record of inventory. So inventory, you should understand first. Inventory is nothing but the collection of data related to the activities which are to be done on the shop floor. So the record of inventory, such as machines, tools, equipments, and actual state of condition of all these resources, it is the basic information for allocating machines. So this record of inventory is very much necessary. The next step is updated knowledge regarding abilities and skills of the workers. So the supervisor should know all the abilities and skills of the workers who are working under his team or on particular project. So if he has this knowledge, then he can allocate the work accordingly. This will help to complete the task with greater efficiency and minimum wastage or losses. So the supervisor will be successful while allocating work to people if and only if he has the updated knowledge regarding the abilities and skills of the people under him. For effective use of resources like machinery, the supervisor should have the knowledge regarding the abilities and skills, so that accordingly he can allocate all such machines on which the workers can perform their work. If these things not happen, then even the super plan can fail. So the supervisor should be dynamic on the shop floor. Next step is proper feedback and reporting. So here the scheduling parameter is very important. The supervisor should make proper work schedule, and the time parameter for each operation should be finalized. So after this, proper feedback and reporting will help to work things in time. The reporting authority should also be responsive and cooperating so that the subordinates can attend properly. Also, it is necessary that the on-time issues are also handled smartly by the supervisor. Then the next step is healthy atmosphere. Healthy atmosphere of communication and relations is the foundation of making the plans successful. So the plans will be perfect when executed properly. Hence, a supervisor should follow each step of total plan, considering the quantity to be produced as well as quality to be achieved with the stipulated period of time. So these are the all steps which are to be followed after planning. Now we will see the new point, that is prescribing standard forms for various activities. So it actually means that prescribing standard formats, that is nothing but a documentation for a particular activity. So we will, in this point, we will see what is the importance or advantages for making some documentation related to several activities. But before going for that, we will see what are its importance as well as advantages. The supervisor or shop floor manager, he is the key person for planning on the production floor. The supervisor has to plan for the entire year. Also, he has to plan for the shift. So before shift, during the shift, and at the end of the shift, these are the important time segments where the important concerns of the supervisor will help to run the production smoothly. The supervisor, while planning, deals with the resources on one side, whereas the customer expectations on the other side. So the supervisor is doing 5M planning, and this 5M is nothing but man, machine, material, method and measurement. For doing all the activities systematically, such as machine-wise planning, manpower planning, material flow, etc., documentation in the prescribed forms is the need of the time. So we have to prescribe some standard forms for each activity, and we are going to see these standard formats in the further slides. So in the next slide, we will see what are the importance or advantages of prescribing these standard formats. There are many advantages for prescribing the standard formats. So we will see all these advantages. So the first advantage is standardization of system. So first we will understand what is the actual meaning of standardization. So the standardization is the process of creating some guidelines for the particular activity. So due to standardization, it will ensure that the activity is performed with consistent quality. The goal of standardization is to ensure uniformity to certain practices within the industry. So standardization focuses on the product creation process, operations of business, or the technology in use, and how specific processes are carried out. So the next advantage is no human error of recording. So with standard format, the chances of errors are reduced in the industry. The next advantage is factual information of paper. So whatever the information is required, it is given in the standard format. All this necessary information in the form of data is helpful for making decisions. So next advantage is data for decision making. The next advantage is systematic plan. With proper standard format, the systematic planning is also possible. With systematic planning comes our next advantages, that is effective utilization of resources. So we have already studied what are the several resources. That is nothing but in 5N planning, we have seen resources such as man, machine, material, money. So all these resources can be utilized very effectively if we are having some standard formats for the same. So the next advantage is authentication of the process. So authentication is nothing but a kind of proof which gives the identity to the document. This helps to make the process error proof. The next advantage is easy to trace the interdependency in the activities. With proper formatting, we can also understand whether the given activity is related with some other activity or not. So this helps to trace the dependency of the given process with the other process. The next advantage is clarity in work. Then again, the next advantage is exact specification of authority and responsibility. It helps to determine the exact person who is responsible for carrying out that activity. Then the next advantage is delay and mistakes which can be traced on paper easily. Again, the next advantage is correct inputs to the management. Then next advantage is perfect guidelines to the operators. So these are the some advantages which can be easily understood. And the last advantage is easy to refer previous activities through documentation. So these were all the advantages of prescribing the formats, that is standard formats. Now we will see few examples of standard forms that are available for various activities. So we will start with first raw material acceptance. Now whatever the formats that we are going to see, the same format will be not available in all the organization. However, the format may be somewhat similar, as depending on the requirements of the company, the format may differ. So I have given some examples, so you have to just understand this concept regarding the use of the standard formats. So first is the raw material acceptance. We will see the format, standard format for the same. So in this format we can see that there are several parameters given in this format, that is date, time, name of the material, quantity, specifications, batch number and batch size, then inspection done by the person as well as the person who is receiving that material, and the signature of the same person. So while receiving the raw material, this is the systematic prescribed standard form which helps to get the correct idea regarding the activity. Here there will be the exact information about the material which is accepted. Also the responsibilities are also clearly defined in the same format, where regarding who is the person going to receive the raw material. So since the signatures and the names are already included in the format, along with this the date and time is also given for the same. So this was the format for raw material acceptance. Now we will see the second format. The second format is for job description. Now again here we will see first the format includes the job name, then next comes the operation name, then the next parameter is the processes, then we have cycle time, next is the name of the operator, then inspections required, the date of job and the time allotted along with the signature. So this format is used. So with all these details we can get information such as what is the name of the job, or who is the person going to do some process on that job, or what processes are to be carried out on that job, or how much time it will take for carrying out such process on that job, or who is the operator, and what are the inspections regarding the measurement of that job, and the time allotted to complete that job. So this was about the job description. Now again we will see another format. Third format we will see for machine planning. So in machine planning we can see the details that are given here, that is name of the department, machine number, machine name, process type, operator name, and schedule of timing. Also we can see here 4 columns with date, time, job name and duration of operator, and again remark by supervisor along with the signature. So here we can understand that machine planning, as a machine is one of the most important resources that is used in the organization or industry. So with this format, one can understand that the machine for machine planning, what machine is going to be used, or what operations that can be carried out on the given machine, or who is going to operate that machine, and for what duration or time the machine will be engaged. So all these information can be feeded into this format along with the person who is going to handle all this machine. Also with this format, the supervisor can also determine that how much time the operator has consumed for the completion of that job. So this was about machine planning. Now the next part or next format we will see, it is issue of tools. So tools are many times required for carrying out certain operations, like for measurement or holding for of the job. So the format will include tool order number, department, then next is bin number, next is clock number and date. So if we talk about tool, then a machine tool itself is a machine for handling or machining metal or other rigid materials, usually by cutting, boring, grinding, shearing, or other forms of deformation. There can be several number of tools available on the shop floor, and if the operator requires them, then the details regarding the same has to be kept. So with the help of this format, all these details can be kept in record. So this was about the issue of tools. Our next standard format is for material flow. So in the format, we will have name of the material, the code number given for that material. Now again, we have a table where we can see 5 columns and 4 rows, which includes information regarding the sequence of material flow, what kind of machines are involved, what operations are to be carried out, and what will be the time requirement for each operation on that particular machine. From this given format, we can understand that the material will be first provided to the lathe machine, where turning operation will be carried out, and it will be requiring the time about 12 minutes. Now when this 12 minutes are completed, then the same job will be further passed to the milling machine, where the facing operation will be carried out for a duration of about 10 minutes. After facing operation, the job will be further passed to the drilling machine, where the whole operation will be carried out, which will be requiring further 3 minutes. And after these 3 minutes, the job will be then finally passed to the grinding machine, where the surface finish operation will be carried out, which will consume time of about 11 minutes. So in this way, we can get the idea that after how much time a single job will be completed. So this was all about material flow. All these formats that we have seen, these are very much helpful in production planning activities. Now we will start with a new point, that is budget. So first we will see what is the meaning of budget. A budget is an instrument of management which is used in the planning, programming, and control of the business activity. It is a financial statement prepared and approved prior to a defined period of time. It is also a written plan of action which is used for cost control purposes. Budgeting actually means forecasting and pre-planning for the budget period. You might have heard this term budget most of the times on the television, because this budget has been prepared by the government for every year. In a similar way, every industry has its own budget for their each departments. A budget is actually a financial plan, usually for 1 year, and it includes the information such as the sum of money which is allocated for a particular project, and the summary of intended expenditures along with proposals for how to meet them. So if we are having a budget, then accordingly we can plan how much amount of money will be invested for that particular project, and whether this financial condition would be stable enough to carry out all the activities as per the planning. At supervisory level, this concept of budgeting is very important because supervisor is responsible for the budgeting of materials and manpower. So we will see how to make a budget for materials as well as manpower in further slides. Budgeting for material. In this slide we will see how the supervisor will prepare the budget for material. First, the supervisor will determine what is the requirement of final production, and then he will find out the quantities of raw material which are required. This requirement is calculated for a specific period because the supervisor will never purchase the material in excess amount, as it will be kept lying on the shop floor and it will consume the space unnecessarily. Also, these underutilized raw material will increase the expenses, as it would require proper care of this raw material, as well as storage requirement will also increase for the same. So the budgeting of this material is very much important. So the next point, the supervisor will take reference from the manufacturing budget too, and after this the requirements can be calculated from the past records. So in this way the supervisor will budget for the material. Apart from budgeting for materials, the supervisor will also prepare the budget for manpower. So from the production goals in a specific period, the supervisor will calculate for the labor or manpower which is required. This will give an estimate of direct labor required. For this, references can be taken from the production budget. The supervisor will calculate the manpower requirements as follows. First, he will divide the production activity into the required operations. Then he will calculate the standard time required for each operation. Then based on this calculation, he will be able to find the total number of working hours that will be required to complete the production activity. And after this, from the number of hours which is calculated, the supervisor will calculate the manpower required. For budgeting of manpower, just calculating the manpower requirements is not sufficient, but we are going to calculate that what expenses are going to occur for the manpower. So once we get the exact count of manpower that is required for a particular activity, the supervisor will then calculate what expenses are going to occur, and this is called as direct manpower budget. So this direct manpower budget is prepared as follows. First, the supervisor will find out the total manpower required, that is the exact count which we have seen in previous slide. Then he will classify this manpower into several grades, because the budget has to prepare according to the skills that each employee has. The supervisor will define the grades such as skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, and unskilled labor, and depending on their skills he will decide the standard wage rates for this manpower. And then finally, based on the standard wage rates for each grade, he will find the total budget that is total manpower or labor cost. So this was all about budgeting for manpower. So now we will stop here for today, and we will start with the remaining half part of this chapter, that is organizing at supervisory level.